My name is Rowena Halvorson. I'm 38, a trauma nurse in Tacoma, Washington, and the youngest daughter in a family that always pretended appearances mattered more than people. My brother Caleb was the golden one, real estate mogul, public speaker, the kind of man my mother described in Christmas cards like he walked on water. Me. I worked the night shift, raised my son alone, and quietly saved every cent for his college future, without the flash, without the applause. I've spent most of my life feeling like the wrong piece in someone else's puzzle. And just when I thought I'd finally proven I belonged, everything I built vanished in one transaction. One signature I didn't write. One laugh I'll never forget. She stole from my son, smiled in my face, and thought that would be the end. She has no idea. I've only just started. The buzz of my phone cracked through the silence like a gunshot. 5:07 a.m. Parking lot lights flickered above my windshield. Rain dotted the glass like pinpricks. My hands were still trembling from the shift. A teenager with a shattered collarbone. A man who coded twice. A mother who bled out in Trauma Bay 2. But the tremble turned to ice when I opened the banking app. $0. College fund, Eli Halvorson. Balance, $0. Withdrawal, $199,000. Authorized by co-owner. I didn't blink, just stared, then hit refresh. Again, and again. I knew that number by heart. I'd watched it grow for 18 years. Every dollar came with a scar. From skipped lunches, overtime shifts, and years of Eli asking why I never took vacations. And now it was gone. The co-owner. I already knew who. My mother's house looked the same as it had for 20 years. White brick, manicured hedges, wind chimes with a fake Tiffany finish. She opened the door like she'd been expecting me. Maybe she had. "Rowena," she said smoothly like I was interrupting tea time. "You look tired. Where's the money?" My voice didn't shake. I didn't let it. Maribel Halvorson smiled like a queen, holding court. She didn't invite me in. She didn't flinch. "Oh, that," she said, turning away. "Thanks for helping Caleb. The rehearsal dinner is going to be spectacular." I didn't move. My feet anchored to her polished porch. "That was Eli's college fund," I said. "Every cent. You knew that." She poured herself coffee, slow and deliberate. "He's a boy. Boys need to toughen up, not depend on handouts. He'll manage." My breath hitched. "You stole his future." "You overreact so much," she laughed. "Honestly, it's exhausting." She sipped. A smear of lipstick marked the rim. I wanted to smash the cup. Instead, I stared her down. "Why am I not invited to the wedding?" I asked. She shrugged. "You make things uncomfortable, Ro. This is a family event." "I am family." She didn't respond. My phone buzzed again as I walked back to my car. My hands were cold. My legs numb. Dad's name lit up the screen. I answered. His voice cracked. "Ro, I didn't know. I didn't know she actually did it." "You signed off, didn't you?" "No," he said quickly. "She told me she was reallocating some family money. Said you knew. That it was for Caleb just until the bonuses came through." I thought she meant short term. "Dad, it wasn't hers to reallocate." "I'm sorry. I should have asked more questions." I leaned my head against the steering wheel, eyes closed. Every breath scraped like gravel. She played you. She played all of us. And it worked. At home, Eli was still asleep. His college brochures were scattered across the kitchen table. UCLA, UW, even NYU, still in plastic wrap. His future was in those pages. I opened the envelope drawer and pulled out the folder I'd kept since he was born. Bank documents, deposit records, email confirmations, everything dated and clean. I flipped through the pages one by one. She left her fingerprints everywhere. Intent matters. That's what they say in court. Not just what was done, but why. I had intent. She had malice. At 8:43 a.m. I called the bank. The manager said the form had my name on it. My signature. Proper ID. Witnessed. Recorded. That's not possible, I said. He paused. The paperwork's in order. He offered to email it. I said yes. I opened the attachment. It was my signature. Almost. The loops were too smooth. The tail on the R curved inward, not outward. I don't curve it. Not since 2007. My hands shook as I zoomed in. It wasn't just fake. It was practiced. The phone slipped from my grip. That's not my signature, I whispered. But it's in my handwriting. The signature wouldn't stop staring back at me. It looked like mine, but it wasn't mine. I didn't curl my R's inward. I hadn't since Eli was born. I printed every statement, every document, and pinned them to the wall of my kitchen like evidence in a crime scene. I stepped back, arms crossed. The papers fluttered slightly under the ceiling fan, mocking me. Somewhere in there was the crack, the thread I could pull. My phone buzzed. Ro! Nolan Pike's voice cut in, low and gravel rough. You okay? No, I said. But I found something. I need your help. Nolan had worked with cybersecurity firms for the state. We hadn't spoken in over a year, not since his brother died and he dropped off the grid. But I remembered what he'd told me once over beers. There's no such thing as erasing a digital trail, only hiding it deeper. Cut scene. Rose sits in her car outside Maribel's house. Engine off. Hoodie up. Watching. She sees her mother's silhouette in the living room. Alone. Reading. Calm. Untouched. Back to the kitchen. Ro drops the printed withdrawal form next to Nolan on her dining table. Zoom in here, she says. Date stamp. Printer metadata. Anything. He types rapid. Keys clacking. A pause. Then. This was printed from a brother MFC 7860 DW. Wi-Fi enabled. Ro frowns. That's the printer in her home office. Upstairs. IP address matches. It wasn't sent from your laptop. It was sent from an old MacBook Pro. I don't own a Mac. You don't, he confirms. But your mom does. Escalation. Ro drives to the bank. Sterile floors. Fake plants. The scent of printer ink and coffee someone spilled too long ago. I'd like to speak with the branch manager, she says. He arrives. Early 50s. Nervous around conflict. Ms. Halvorsen, he says. We've reviewed your request. The transaction was performed in person. With photo ID. Signature matched. Power of attorney provided. Whose power of attorney? He hesitates. Clicks something. Yours, he says. Signed 3 months ago. Her breath hitched. I never signed a POA. He shifts. We have video of the transaction. I want to see it. I'm afraid that requires legal process. A beat of silence. The fluorescent lights hum. Ro leans forward. She forged a federal document. With my name. If you don't pull that video, the next lawyer I call won't be mine. He'll be a prosecutor. He blinks. Sweat at the collar. I'll see what I can do. Cut scene. At home, Ro finds Eli on the couch. Textbooks open, earbuds in. His world still intact. She watches him from the hallway. How do you tell your child someone stole his future because they thought you wouldn't fight? Next move. She visits her father. Derek opens the door in a wrinkled polo. He looks smaller than she remembers. I need the truth, she says. He lets her in. I thought you knew, he says, voice tight. Your mother said you agreed. She said you signed a letter. She showed it to me. Told me it was all arranged. What letter? He shakes his head. An email. Said you were redirecting funds for family support. That Eli got a scholarship. She lied, Rose says. He swallows. Doesn't argue. She's always had a way of convincing people to go along, he mutters. Even when it hurt. Some people use kindness to control. Others use guilt. My mother mastered both. Late night. Nolan calls. She accessed your old email, he says. Through a password reset routed to your childhood backup account. I don't even remember that password. She did. Pause. There's more. Someone else accessed your HR file at the hospital, changed your emergency contact address, even flagged you for a random audit. Who? Ro whispers. Someone with admin-level clearance. Cut scene. Ro walks into work the next day. Everything feels off. The charge nurse avoids eye contact. A manager nods but doesn't speak. A voice behind her, "Hey Ro, HR's looking for you." She spins. Cold fills her chest. What for? They didn't say. She walks into HR, a manila folder on the desk. We received a complaint, the HR rep says. Financial discrepancies linked to an employee fund. Since you're listed as a fund custodian on 2 accounts, we're required to open an internal review. Ro's voice drops. Who filed the complaint? A beat. Anonymous. She walks out of the building. Air sharp against her skin. People say losing control feels like falling. It doesn't. It feels like watching someone else rewrite your story while you stand there, screaming into soundproof glass. She gets in her car, dialing Nolan. I'm being erased, she says. Not just robbed. Rewritten. You need to flip the board, Nolan says. Set your own trap. A pause. Rose stares into the rearview mirror. For a second, she swears. Someone moves behind her car. Then nothing. If she forged my name once, she can ruin my entire life. The air inside my apartment felt electric. Too quiet. Too still. Like something waiting to snap. I locked the door. Deadbolt. Chain. Then pulled the blinds halfway down, not all the way. Just enough to see who might be watching from the street. Because someone was. When you've worked trauma long enough, you learn to read tension like temperature. My gut said this wasn't paranoia. It was pattern recognition. I laid out the folder across my kitchen table. Documents, statements, screenshots, a sticky note on each. Eli's door creaked open behind me. He rubbed his eyes, hair sticking up in every direction. You okay? He asked. I forced a smile. Couldn't sleep. He didn't push, just nodded and grabbed orange juice. If someone steals from you and doesn't get caught, it's like the world says they were right to do it. I looked at him. My 17-year-old son. Too old to believe in fairy tales. Too young to carry this kind of truth. You only lose, I said quietly, when you let them walk away without consequence. Cut scene. 2 hours later. Nolan's garage. LED lights buzz overhead. His laptop casts blue light over our faces. He's chewing sunflower seeds, tapping fast. I built a tracker, he says. You'll draft a fake fund transfer. Leave the draft open on your laptop, logged into a dummy account. If she bites, I'll know. I nod. She'll bite. You sure? She's already tasted blood. Now she wants control. Back at home, I leave the bait. Open laptop. Dummy browser tab. Fake inheritance. Wire transfer from a new fund Eli's godfather supposedly set up. $250,000. Just out of reach. I drive to my dad's. He opens the door, slower this time. Less shame. More dread. She's at brunch, he mutters. Good. We sit. I leave my laptop bag on the counter, open. I pretend to forget it. His eyes track it, just a flicker. 30 minutes later, I leave. Bag forgotten. Cut scene. Back in the car. Nolan calls. She logged in. I gripped the steering wheel. She didn't even hesitate. No. She was inside the file within 2 minutes. Downloaded the entire folder. My stomach turns. She thinks it's real. She doesn't just think it's real, Nolan says. She just forwarded it to someone else. Twist. Who? I ask. Nolan types. Clicks. Silence. It's a business domain, he says. Registered to, hold on, Ross and Taylor Consulting. My blood runs cold. Kellen Ross. I ask. Nolan's voice sharpens. You know him. He's head of physician compliance at the hospital. He's the one who flagged me for the financial audit. That's not coincidence, he mutters. I stare through the windshield. My breath fogs the glass. Then they're working together, I say. My mother, Ross, and I can't finish the sentence. But I know who the third person is. Caleb. Cut scene. Public library downtown. Row in gloves. Hoodie. Public access computer. She prints vendor records. Floral. Catering. Venue. Timeline shows one thing. The wedding payments were processed hours after the college fund was drained. Not days. Hours. Next stop. The florist. I pose as a wedding planner. Frazzled. Rushed. Bride's sister. Lost the invoices. Can you resend copies? For accounting. The girl behind the counter shrugs. Sure. Email. I give her a burner. 10 minutes later, I get a file. I open it on my phone. Invoice. $38,900. Paid by M. Halvorson. Note. Charge to family account. My daughter won't miss it. I sit back. Breath knocked out of me. Not from the number. From the subject line. It reads. Use of Rose stash. Finally good for something fun. I forward it to Nolan. Then I whisper to myself, game on. I get home. My laptop's moved an inch from where I left it. I didn't touch it. I opened the webcam history. Motion detection was on. At 2:03 p.m., someone sat down in front of the screen and typed, then left. Frame by frame, I scroll forward until I see her face. Maribel. Hair pinned. Eyes narrowed. Watching my screen like she was looking into a vault. I close the lid. My haunt is sulken. The phone buzzes. Blocked number. Message. Stop digging. Another. You're not ready for the truth. I step back from the table. My skin feels too tight. She wasn't working alone. And whoever it is knows exactly how to destroy me. The morning after the message, I woke to silence too sharp to be natural. The kind that rings just before something falls. I swept the apartment fast. Locks untouched, windows closed. But the tension had a scent. Like ozone. Like something charged and dangerous. Just passed through. My burner phone lit up. Nolan's name. I tracked the IP from that anonymous message, he said. Guess where it bounced through? I braced. Hospital network. Close. AMC Regional Legal Office. Someone's trying to bury you officially. AMC. Where Ross worked. Where Caleb had donors. They're prepping something, Nolan continued. Probably a formal investigation. Or a settlement push. I won't take hush money. He laughed, bitter. You think this is about money anymore? Cut scene. Ro walks into work. Badge doesn't scan. She tries again. Red light. Then again. Nothing. Security approaches. Ma'am, he says. Your access is restricted pending review. You'll need to contact HR. No warning. No call. Just like that, shut out. When someone steals your life, they don't take it all at once. They bleed it out one cut at a time. I head to HR walk-in. Act calm. A man I've never seen before stands behind the desk. Tall. Tidy. Clip-on badge. Internal compliance, he says. I'll need your badge and device. I'm not under investigation. You are now. He slides a paper across the desk. AMC letterhead. Legal language. Accusations of misappropriation. Falsified documents and pattern behavior. My throat tightens. This is insane. We take financial abuse seriously, he replies. The irony almost makes me laugh. I slide the badge back. Walk out. Eyes on me the entire way. I call Nolan. They're trying to erase me from every system I touch. Then it's time, he says. We pull the trigger. He sends me a file. Inside, a full timeline of the money movement, IP logs, access history, and one email chain from Maribel's iCloud, leaked via a mirror account Nolan quietly installed on her tablet weeks ago. Subject line, let's not loop Rowena in. Too emotional. Attached, transfer instructions, bank screenshots, and a wedding guest list. One name jumps out. Dr. Caleb Halvorsen, Joint Authorizing Party. My breath leaves me. He signed off too. I drive straight to his office. Don't call. Don't knock. I push through the glass door and step into his lobby. Receptionist freezes. I don't stop. Rowena, wait, I'm already inside. Caleb stands by the window, phone in hand, sipping espresso like he owns the world. Wow, he says, setting it down. Didn't think you'd come storming in this time. You signed the transfer. He doesn't deny it. She asked me to, he says simply. That money was for your nephew. He shrugs. And he'll get into college anyway. You're overreacting. You always say that when you've already crossed the line. His eyes narrow. You were always dramatic, he says. You think you're fighting a cause? No one cares. Mom's handling things. She always has. You mean manipulating, covering your asses, forging signatures. He steps closer. This is bigger than you, Ro. Bigger than Eli. Don't make it worse by acting like a victim. I'm not the victim, I say. Not anymore. Cut scene. Ro meets Nolan in a dark parking garage. Echoes. Footsteps. Distant thunder. I've got one shot, she says. If I go to court now, they'll bury it. You don't need court, Nolan says. You need exposure. What kind of exposure? He pulls out a flash drive. Tonight, fundraiser gala. AMC ballroom. Media's already invited. Press, donors board. I take the drive. This has the timeline. And the proof. IPs. Access logs. Email trails. Even her laugh, caught on your laptop mic during the bait drop. Ro swallows. This will burn them. No, he meets her eyes. This will expose them. The burn comes later. Back home. I change. Black suit. No jewelry. Hair tied back. Calm armor. I text Eli. Studying late. Be good. Love you. His reply comes fast. Love you more. I pause. Take one last look at our living room. Photos. Empty mugs. Life frozen between moments. Then I lock the door behind me. Ballroom is all glass and white linen. Crystal chandeliers. AMC banners. Caleb on stage. Talking legacy, care, vision. Every lie polished like a speech trophy. I step into the back row. Nolan already plugged in the USB. He nods once. Cue hits. The screen glitches. Then flickers. Then plays. Email chain. Voice recording. Wire transfers. Maribel's voice, cold, unmistakable, laughing. She's so easy. Just wave family guilt and she shuts down. Like a child. I'm not sorry. Gasps. Phones come up. Board members turn. Security starts moving. Too late. On screen. Caleb's digital signature authorizing the transfer. Overlaid with unauthorized use of restricted funds. People are shouting now. Lights flicker. I step into the spotlight. Calm. Steady. I saved every dollar for my son's future. And they stole it because they thought no one would believe me. One beat. Then I turn, walking off the stage. Behind me, Maribel rises from her seat. But she's no longer smiling. The ballroom lights dimmed. Glass, chandeliers glinted. Voices buzzed like insects in heat. I wasn't supposed to be here, but I was. I stood at the back row, heels planted on marble. The air smelled of perfume and victory. But it was a trap. A beautiful trap. And everyone in this room was about to be caught in it. Caleb smiled at the podium, oblivious. He didn't see me at first, nor did he see the screen behind him flicker. His speech droned on. Vision. Legacy. Family first. A phrase I'd heard 1,000 times. Every platitude his mother ever weaponized. Every excuse she ever used to control. Power isn't given. It's taken. I'd said that once to Eli, late night in the kitchen. He'd laughed then. He wasn't laughing now. Cut scene. Nolan's fingers flew on the tablet beside me. Are you ready? He whispered. I didn't answer. My eyes were on the screen. The slideshow behind Caleb froze. Then it cut. Black. Silence. Then words appeared. Unauthorized transfer. Digital signatures. Email correspondence. Recorded confession. The audio clicked on. A voice, my mother's, smooth and cold. She's so easy. Just use guilt. She'll do anything. Gasps rippled. Caleb froze mid-sip of champagne. People reached for phones. Security shifted. Blades of tension sliced the air. I stepped forward, microphone in hand. Ladies and gentlemen, I said, voice steady, sharp as shattered glass. Thank you for gathering tonight. I have something you all deserve to hear. A murmur trailed behind me. Like a shadow, my son's college fund was stolen. $99,000. And it was done by someone in this room. I paused. Eyes flicked. Phones raised. I turned to the screen. Invoice after invoice. Wire transfers. Dates. Times. Trails that led to one destination. Maribel's account. Caleb's authorization. Not denial. Authorization. Let's not pretend ignorance, I said. The transfer was signed off by you, Caleb. With full knowledge and encouragement from your mother. The crowd shifted. A woman's heel clicked like a gunshot. A man coughed too loud. Cell phones buzzed. One of the trustees, a man with perfect gray hair, leaned forward. Is this verified? I nodded. Bank confirmed. IP logs. Authorized signatures. The audio file is unedited. Another voice rose. We trust our families to protect us. I snapped back. Not when they're the ones breaking you. Security approached. Ma'am. I'm not done. I glanced at Nolan. He nodded. Behind me, the screen flipped. New images. Vendor emails. A note from the florist. Use rose stash. Finally good for something fun. A simple sentence. A devastating truth. The room erupted. Caleb's face drained of color. His jaw twitched. He opened his mouth. Closed it. Maribel stood. Slow. Pale. Like ice melting in sunlight. I don't know what you think this is, she said, voice brittle. This is family business. The crowd recoiled. But not in sympathy. In horror. Family business, I echoed. Isn't a euphemism for criminal conspiracy. Cut scene. The ballroom door swung open. 2 plainclothes officers entered. Quiet, precise. One held a badge. Maribel Halvorsen? Her eyes flicked to mine, then to the badge. Ma'am, you're under arrest. Silence hung, thick, like smoke. People backed away. Glass shattered somewhere, maybe in someone's mind, maybe a wine glass kicked underfoot. Maribel didn't resist, just stared. At nothing. At me. At the wreckage of her control. The cuffs clicked. Cold metal. Like justice. Outside, the flash of cameras. Reporters swarmed. Phones lit like fireflies. I tried to breathe. Tried to feel anything besides the shockwave hammering through me. Security blocked the exits. Caleb trailed behind his mother. Blank-faced. The gala was over. But the real show had just begun. Later, in the parking garage, I stood beside my car. Rain had started, thick drops that hit the concrete with wet thuds. I wrapped my arms around myself. Nolan approached. You did it, he said. Did we do it? I corrected. He didn't argue. Then his screen lit up. A notification from AMC Legal. A mandatory report had been filed. Financial crimes, federal inquiry, and an unexpected update, the audit of my hospital records, now on official hold pending investigation into interference. I breathed, but the breath tasted like metal. We walked toward the exit. I touched my phone. A message. Everyone has two lives, the one they live and the one they live inside their mind. Truer now than ever. I thought of Eli, of all I'd risked, of every moment that had led here, and then the phone buzzed again. Another alert. This one from the florist company. A new email had been forwarded, one flagged as urgent. I opened it. It wasn't just the invoices anymore. It was a contract. Signed, with a signature eerily familiar. Caleb's, but not his handwriting. My pulse spiked. I showed Nolan. His eyes widened. That's not just fraud, he said. That's collusion. I swallowed. Hard. Cold. Sharp. The night wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Let them call the police. I'll wait. The courthouse steps were slick with rain. Cameras lined the curb like metal birds, lenses blinking. I stayed in the car, engine off, listening to the world breathe. Siren somewhere, doors slamming, the smell of wet concrete and old leaves. This is where stories end, people think. In handcuffs, in verdicts, in headlines. They don't. They begin again. Cut scene. Inside, everything moved fast. Too fast for the weight of it. Charges read. Names spoken. Dates pinned to the wall like specimens. Fraud. Identity theft. Conspiracy. The words sounded clinical, almost gentle, considering the damage they'd done. Maribel didn't look at me. Not once. Caleb did. His eyes were hollow now. No speeches. No smiles. Just the realization that power borrowed from someone else always comes due. A public defender leaned in to whisper. Papers slid. Pen scratched. I felt watched. I always would. Justice isn't loud. I remembered telling Eli once. It's patient. It waits until the lie runs out of room. Outside, the press surged. Microphones. Questions sharpened into weapons. Rowena, did you plan this? Was this revenge? Isn't it tragic when family turns on family? I raised my hand. One sentence. Calm. This wasn't revenge, I said. It was protection. That's all. Cut scene. 3 days later. Hospital conference room. White walls. Coffee gone cold. HR slid a document across the table. Your access is fully restored. The audit has been suspended pending the federal inquiry into interference. Interference. That's what they called it when powerful people leaned too hard. I signed. Stood. Walked out. In the hallway, a nurse I barely knew touched my arm. I'm glad you fought, she said. Most people don't. Most people are taught not to, I thought. Nolan met me outside. He looked older, lighter. They offered a settlement, he said. Full restitution. Plus damages. Separate account. Your name only. Eli as beneficiary at 18. Good, said. There's more, he added. Caleb's contract. The one with the forged signature? It ties back to a shell account Maribel controlled. That's the motive. Control. Not money. I nodded. I already knew. Some people don't steal to gain. They steal to keep you small. Cut scene. Evening. Home. Eli sat at the kitchen table, laptop open, acceptance letters stacked, like postcards from the future. He looked up when I walked in, searching my face. It's over, he asked. As over as things like this get, I said. He smiled, small and steady. I didn't need the money, he said. I needed you not to let them do that to us. I crossed the room and hugged him. Tight. The kind of hug that says we survived. You don't win by being quiet, he said, surprising me. I laughed through the knot in my throat. You learn fast. Cut scene. Holding room. Visiting hours. Maribel sat behind glass, hands folded. Hair immaculate. Eyes sharp. She still believed in control. You embarrass me, she said when I picked up the phone. No apology. No remorse. You embarrassed yourself, I replied. I did what I had to for this family. No, I said. You did what you wanted. She leaned in. You'll regret this. People don't forget. I know, I said. That's the point. I hung up before she could speak again. Weeks passed. The noise faded. Headlines moved on. They always do. The account grew. Slowly. Safely. Each deposit a stitch, closing a wound. I went back to night shifts. Trauma doesn't wait for your life to settle. Neither does healing. One dawn, after a long shift, I stood with Eli on the steps of his future campus. The buildings caught the light like promise. Students hurried past, carrying lives that hadn't been tested yet. We're really here, he said. We are, I said. You can't choose the family you're born into, I thought, but you can choose what you protect. Final cut. Home. Quiet. The blinds open just enough. The city breathing. I checked the locks. Old habit. New awareness. The phone buzzed. A message from Nolan. They pled. It's done. I set the phone down. I wasn't angry anymore. Anger burns too hot to last. What remained was clarity. Boundaries aren't walls, I'd learned. They're doors you decide when to open. I turned off the light. Tomorrow would come. It always does. And this time, nothing they took would take us back.